Hello and welcome back to Monster Hunter. It's been a while since I've been able to say that. Welcome back to Rage Gaming and welcome back to Monster Hunter Sunbreak Update 3. This is a big update in terms of Risen and of course that Chaotic Gore. And so we're taking a look at the new fights, giving our overview, giving you information about what the new details are, the armor, the weapons, the new decorations, and general advice. So let's jump into it with my video and my monster, which is of course, as you can see, Risen Kushala, which looks incredible when powered up in that Risen sort of fire style. I love the theme for these, just like the Chameleos one. It's like there's a fire within it, burning it up. But lore-wise, conceptually, it's much like Malzeno, right? Unlike monsters, unlike the afflicted who have been taken over by the Curio, they have basically suppressed them and taken that power within them and using it for their own benefit. In the case of Kushala here, it means much more deadly wind blasts, an enhanced moveset with that, and also a lot of yellow wind, which is cool. Let's take a look at its new moveset. Just like Risen Chameleos then, we have 3 modes of play: normal, enraged, and of course that new transform. What I will say is that the non-transformed Risen Kushala is genuinely very deadly and scary. I was really expecting the threat to be during that transformation, but I was wrong. The damage is really high even on the basics. As I mentioned, the theme here is enhanced wind power through that Risen state, meaning even basic attacks like the claw swipes are wind related. The simple double swipe combo now has this black wind tornado that shoots out from each hand on each swipe, creating a much deadlier attack as those tornadoes shoot forward and making the whole thing way harder to avoid. Or there's the many leap blasts. From the ground to suddenly in the air, Kushala will shoot out, say, the new yellow wind in a line attack from one side to the other, which as it goes, blasts out a yellow tornado on the landing spot. It's awesome. The target wind blast that charges up and tracks you comes out in a nasty combo now, where there's a double black tornado that spin together through one another, and that obscures your vision on Kushala, who is behind that, charging up a perfectly on-target wind blast. There's a lot of that combination style of attacks going on here, and they're very scary, especially the new super feeling new attack, in which Kushala leaps up into the air after inhaling a lot of wind, and then drops a supernova-style wind blast right under itself. The blast gains size multiple times as it goes off, though, so you have to be extra careful. That is all, of course, in addition to the normal Kushala attacks that we expect and see in Master Rank now, like the multi-dragon damaging claw strikes, the various whirlwind attacks, or charging from the air and so on. Like the previous super, the vacuum-style whirlwind that pulls you in while Kushala hangs in the air and then blasts out for big damage. Things get extra interesting when we finally see the true transformation though. That fiery burst which takes a moment to charge up, then blasts out. Now Kushala will be in its risen glory and very scary at that, with lots of extra little enhancements to its attacks and new combos. There's the target wind blast that becomes way more common, turning into a double combo, meaning you need multiple well-timed evades or counters on that. There's the ranged wind shots that are now yellow and basically land mini novas on the target location, which is definitely going to be a problem in multiplayer. What about the red claw dragon slam? That now has a greater radius, reminding me a bit of a Gore Magala attack, in which there's dragon style explosions to the right and the left of the impact, meaning as you evade to the left or right before, that no longer works. I found it best to run backwards away from Kushala and evade in that direction to avoid the sides entirely. There's the new double claw wind blast combo. That now has a third attack, a follow-up yellow version of that new wind nova right on your spot. Or when it leaps up into the air and slams down on you, it's way scarier, way more damaging now, so much so that the impact breaks the ground apart. And lastly, let's talk about the tornado super, which pulls you in. That now has an extra 4 yellow tornadoes around it. They spin and circle around the wind nova itself, making it harder to avoid before, during, and after the super. But thankfully, despite all of that, knocking it out of the transformation is much the same as the other Risen. With enough damage, you'll just stagger it, you'll knock it down, and that'll bring it straight out of the transformation, making the fight manageable if you keep the DPS up. So, overall, it has way more wind-based attacks and enhanced combos, and entirely new ones at that, making this Kushala feel much scarier at range with all these new options. And I really like this version. It kind of enhances the core, the theme of the fight, which is wind power. Staying near to Kushala as much as you can then is probably a good idea. You're probably wondering what Risen Kushala actually is weak to then. Well, it's actually very similar to regular Kushala. It's almost exactly the same. The biggest weakness is still Thunder, which sets itself at a low 20 on the tail, on the wing, on the forelegs. So it doesn't have any major weaknesses like other monsters. We were really looking for, say, 25 or 30 or higher for a proper elemental weakness. But yeah, Thunder is still the best option if you're wondering for element. In regards to equipment unlocks then, let's start with the new decorations. We have the Flawless Jewel +4, which is peak performance level 2 for 1 slot. This increases your attack when your health is full, so it could be useful for, say, speedrunner builds that aren't ever getting hit. But I'm not too excited about this one, not nearly as much as I'm excited about Iron Shell Jewel 1, which is a 1 slot that gives you Kushala's Blessing. Now, obviously, that's going to be very interesting. For element builds with water and ice, of course, that's going to be great. At level 1, you got 5% extra water and ice attack and 10% at level 2. Most importantly, though, especially for the Immortal build for Josh, is the fact that we can now get that recovery exceeding the red portion of the health gauge from a decoration, giving you crazy regen even without the red recovery health. At level 4, you can nullify heat damage, which is neat, but not that big of a deal in my opinion. Level 1, 2, and 3 are definitely the powerhouses of this decoration, and it's definitely an exciting one to have in the meta. Next up, we have the armor, which looks incredible. I really like the cape. I love the sort of lion shoulder pads. The helmet looks incredible. I am a huge fan of this version of the armor set. But what we're probably most interested in is the skills, and the new skill at that, Wind Mantle. Using Siltbind attacks boosts your wire bug gauge recovery, and landing continuous attacks increases that effect. However, it does wear off when you sheath your weapon. So this is a big one, right? Like in this meta, using as many Siltbind attacks is awesome. So many big hitting Siltbind attacks. One level of Wirebug Whisperer, so you could have 3 Wirebugs for longer and maximize things like that. Being able to use your Siltbinds more often, with certain ones being powerhouses like the new Switch Axe counter, this could be genuinely incredible. At level 1, you get the effect. At level 2, you get better recovery speed, and further at level 3. Wind Mantle level 1 can be found on the helmet, on the gloves, and on the boots. So it is going to be a bit of a costly one to get, to access, and I'm wondering whether maybe just 1 level will be the way to go. Still, for the armor set, we have the helmet with a 3-2-1 slot, we have the chest piece with a 3-2-1, we have a 4 and a 2 on the gloves, we have a 3 and a 1 on the waist, and a 4 and a 4 on the legs, which is crazy. It also comes with burst, which is incredibly meta relevant option. So I believe if you only need 1 level of Wind Mantle, the legs is definitely going to be the way. For the rest of the armor set and the skills though, there's Wirebug Whisperer, obviously Kushala's Blessing, we have attack boost, razor sharp spare shot, burst, and recovery up. So I rate this armor set very good in terms of skills and visuals. Sadly for Risen weapons though, it's not really a thing. We do have a new weapon, of course, with the new Gore, the Chaos version, but with the Risen, it doesn't seem to be a thing so far. Like, Kushala does not have a Risen weapon, much like Chameleos didn't have a Risen Chameleos weapon. But there you have it. That is my overview of Risen Kushala. I'm a huge fan of that, from visuals to mechanics to the whole theme of the powered up wind power. I found it really fun to play against, but I reckon it's going to be a nightmare in multiplayer because of all of those big AoE attacks. Maybe it's not targeted at me, maybe it was at my friend, but I get like blindsided because it wasn't actually aimed at me. Definitely a good showing though, with the new armor skill and that new decoration. It could shift up the meta a little bit in update 3, which I'm excited for. Let me know your thoughts on it, and if I have missed anything like any of the new abilities or moves, let me know in the comments. But for now, enjoy update 3. I'm going to go back to playing it. Until next time then, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.